Hello, Moreland. Welcome to Old Gippsland. My guest is a gentleman who's here at least once every year, and it's always good to have him back. He's the leader of Hope Party, member of the Territorial Council of St. Martin, French St. Martin. Mr. Charville, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning, or good evening, whatever the time of the day it would be when they look at this. I'm doing fine, thanks. What about yourself? How are you doing?
Can't complain, you know.
Good.
Happy
good.
that there are no hurricanes this
Yeah, so far we're still in the season, but going towards the end. Thank you again for having me here. I think now it became a tradition, at least once a year.
That's
so
good.
I thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Good to have you here because you're a voice that people want to hear, and it's important to hear from both sides.
Sure.
You've been a politician for many years.
Yeah, well, actually, it's now more like 46 years.
Wow, it's a long time.
Yeah.
And you've been in business that long too, I think, right?
Yeah, about 50 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how's the feeling? You know, because everything is so different right now, and at the same time, that nothing is changing.
Yeah. We're talking about the French side of France, because we can say over here too, but both sides we can see things have changed quite a bit. But on the French side, at least I was expecting something different from this administration. It's now 2.5 years that Mr. Louis Mossenton became president, so his mandate is now 2.5 years old. And I was looking forward to some things that he has been, searching for or promising if he gets elected someday, because he's been in opposition for a long time, I think 30-something years, nearly 40 years. And I have fought with him and some of the people that are still around him. Alan Richardson is one. Since in the days of MAP in 2001, they came to me at my store on Front Street and asked me to be on their list as MAP in 2001 I think we were going against Mr. Albert Fleming back then. So it is not to say that I am learning who is Mr. Mossenton. I have fought with him. I knew at the time his philosophy, his vision for the country, his ideas for the country, which were similar to mine. So he being there, I expected something totally different. So I'm disappointed so far with what I'm seeing as far as taking care of the St. Martin people's business. There are things that should have been done quite differently and could have been done differently. I'm still hoping, because there are 2.5 years to go, that by listening to some of us, because there are a lot of people talking to him, that he would realize, okay, I need to change course here, and so I can fulfill some of those promises that I have always made to the people over the years.
You know, he was here in this program after a long time, because normally he always comes once a year, just like we have you. But after he became president, it was a little difficult to get him. But we got him here. Yeah. And he made some remarks about you that was quite surprising to a lot of people.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity for me to respond, because I was hoping that I get on this program, even though it's months after. I was surprised myself, because I listen to your program whenever I can, but quite often. And so I heard him, when he mentioned, first of all, that which I was surprised to hear, I kind of envy him. I never accepted him as president, totally false. And the council right now, we have 3 former presidents. We have Franz Gomes, we have Alan Richardson, whom I serve under, and of course we have Daniel Gibbs, whom I serve under, and now we have him, a former coalition partner. I made a coalition with him, so we were supposed to be tight. So when he said that, I was like, what is he talking about? And then the land situation, I think I heard him say, if I can remember well, that I came to him and asked him for the collectivity to buy a piece of land that I own. That is totally false. It's a piece of land that is owned by the succession.
That's standing ground, probably.
In standing ground, my family's succession, and this land was sold. The collectivity has, I think it exists over here too. The government has, the local government, the power to do a preemption to a sale, which is to say, I oppose the sale because we need this land for the community, for the good of the community. That's what he did. We made a sale by the notary with a deposit from the buyer. The notary is legally supposed to notify the collectivity, say, hey, here the Charville family is selling this land to this person. What do you say? They have 30 days to react. And they made preemption, mean to say, no, we're going to buy it. That's what happened. Nobody went to him and begged him to buy, and as if he did us a favor, and that is a total lie. And I'm surprised that, and I told him in the council, by the way, I didn't address the problem and the issue in the council, reminding him that we should all tell the truth as elected members of the council. When we go on radio, on TV, if we talk, we say the truth. That wasn't the truth, and I'm shocked that he did say that. He also made it sound that the land was my land. It has never been my land. It belongs to my brothers and my sisters, and it was sold to the collectivity because they did preemption. So that is just to clarify the situation.
So how is the working relationship now with you and President Mussington?
You know, I explained just now, based on the past, our past, working together in opposition.
Right.
Now he's elected. I have never, as whole party, we have in the opposition benches 2 factions. The Gibbs faction, which is UD, Union pour la Démocratie, and you have the whole party faction. But the whole party faction is sympathizing with him, is supporting him as much as we can when we can. And it was told to him, listen, we're not going to oppose you, we're not going to fight with you, but when we can't support you, we'll tell you why, and we're not giving you a blank check. That was clear.
And you said that a year ago in this program too?
On this program, I said it to him privately, I said it publicly, here and other places. He thought that's not enough for him. He wants me to be totally loyal and just almost becoming part of the majority. That's not possible. So there are times I don't even, I try to refrain to go on radio the way I used to before. And I would say during Gibbs' mandate, it was almost a weekly thing. We even had a program as whole party called You Need to Know, 92.5 FM. Every Friday it would be. And that was more to enlighten the persons, the population, and also at the end there was a political aim. It's not the same with him. But him, if you go on radio and just express yourself, and he doesn't like what you're saying, you become an enemy, political enemy. He's making it difficult for me to accomplish a mission that he has given to me. Asked me, he requested and said, would you accept, which is to become the president of the committee that is over land affairs. Very important committee. I have accepted. I give my condition publicly. But in his mind, the fact that I have accepted and he has offered that is like, I'm part of them now, and I have to behave as if I'm part of them. No, I have done it, accepted it for the population because I understand and I respect the fact he recognizes that, okay, you're good in that field, that's your domain, that's where you feel good. We expect you to perform well. I accepted it, but give me my freedom of speech. Let me remain with my freedom of speech. No, he doesn't want that, and it creates a problem between us, but that's him, not with me. I'm just being me. I'm just being the person that I have been for the past 12 years since being elected in 2012 in the collectivity. I've been elected in the community, so I'm not counting that. But I have always promised the people to come to them and tell them the truth about everything and inform them. I'm continuing to do that a little less because he don't feel that I'm pressuring him because of the relationship. But he is kind of forcing me gradually to change that and eventually to become a real opposition force because he's putting me almost in that position right now. But it's all him because I'm cooperating with him as much as I can. But the other day I heard him say, now you never know if he means Mr. Gibbs or myself. He said, yeah, talking about the airline, the opposition doesn't want this thing to work. And I said to myself, what opposition? Because I don't go on the radio to talk about it. I don't hear Gibbs talking about it. What is he talking about? But so it seems like, which is needed, a strong opposition. He doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Even Mr. Gibbs, for whatever reason, could be a strategy, but he's quiet for the past 2.5 years. So there's no real opposition. He's not feeling, but it seems like maybe for him to function better, he's trying to wake up the opposition. You have some time to be careful for what you ask for.
He should be happy.
He should be happy.
Now, in case you just joined us, Oral Gibbs Live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. My guest is Mr. Jules Charville, leader of the whole party and member of the Territorial Council for St. Martin, and here I speak with him. You know, when you was there a year ago, you touched on that airline.
Yeah.
And you pointed out your concerns.
Yes.
And you just alluded to what the president is saying, that the opposition don't want it to work.
Yeah.
But it looks like what you said is coming to pass.
Well, you see, it's a year ago. And it's about a year ago that they really put this whole thing together. In order to understand what's happening where we are today, let me give a little quick reminder of what really transpired. This was an operating airline based in Guadeloupe, Air Antilles. It went bankrupt, declared bankrupt on August 2nd, 2023. And so it's the court, the business court in Guadeloupe that was taking care of the file. So there was an opportunity for companies, other airlines, even governments to come and, put in a bid. But you had just 3 weeks to do that. Well, the government in Guadeloupe, even though it was a Guadeloupe airline, realized that it was not a good deal, that deal. Having an airline, sure, but that particular deal was not a good one. Why? Because you had to take back, whoever was going to take it, out of 218 employees, you had to take back 120. You had an opportunity to choose how many aircraft. There was a total of 15. The collectivity put in a bid to keep the 120 employees, 4 aircraft. So 55% of the employees for 4 aircrafts, and they had 15. You realize the problem to begin with. Then they didn't tell that to the public, to the population. Those aircrafts were attached to a loan of remaining to be paid of 21.5 million euros, and the payments were at the rate of 300,000 euros per month. And once you get a deal, the aircrafts would be grounded, not knowing when you'll get a license to fly again. Who takes up something like that? So while you're waiting, hoping to get this license to fly, they told us it could take up to 6 months to a year. There's a certain gentleman, which is the general director, he's now gone, of the civil servants. He's the head of all the civil servants on the French side was, because he's gone. He's the one that talked the president and his team into this, and he's the one that told him, no, I know people, I'm going to get it in 3 months. Well, Wal Gibbs, it took them almost a year. It took them exactly, I think, 11 months to get that certificate. In the meantime, those planes grounded, rain, sun, every day for 11 months. They all had to go now to be revised and maybe change parts, and that costs a lot of money. So they managed to get one of them up and running after a year, and that one went into service, but because it's working so hard, it has some maintenance issues, so it's been grounded for 4 days the other day, for 2 days, passengers being stranded in hotels here, etc. So they are operating at a huge loss. That was predicted. They could have avoided that without having to put the taxpayers' money at risk. 13.2 million euros have been invested in this thing, knowing that it's a huge risk because you don't know when those aircrafts would be flying. Today, on September 16th, I think, or 26th, but a few weeks ago, the collectivity, the executive council, the president asks the executive council to take a deliberation to give to the airline a loan of 4 million euros because they're in trouble financially. So if you take 13.2 plus 4, we're in trouble now for 17.2 million euros of taxpayers' money that could be lost if this thing doesn't work. Because maybe in 2 months they're going to come back and say they need another 2, they need another 6. But the drama in all of this, and it's a mystery, the collectivity is supposed to have a partner, which is a company that is running Grand Cause Airport, that this new company that created quick in 3 weeks, they have 40% shares in this company. They have only invested so far, all the millions that you see the collectivity putting in, 400,000 euros. So they should have 40% of that 17. Yeah. I would take out, let's take out 1,200,000 because that went towards the capital. So we're talking about 16 million euros. 40% of that is 6 million and something. They didn't put that. That 4 million that they're now ready to pump into it again, they haven't invested 1 cent. And yet they own 40%.
That don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense, again, is how could you own only 40%, but you're in full control of the airline? The CEO is from them. They, in the agreement, they have the rights to nominate the director. So the director is they who, and they only own 40%, and they're not participating in the expense. And I'm not talking in the air. There's a report. It's temporary, a temporary report. Every, I would think, every 3 or 4 years, there's this, in English, the translation would be the Territorial Chamber of Accounts. The Chambre Territorial des Comptes. This is a chamber that, you got some magistrates that come in and audit the books of the collectivity. Now, each collectivity, Guadeloupe, Martinique, even the government of France, the central government, they have the rights to audit the books. And they said, number one, the collectivity has taken a huge risk to expose that kind of money, taxpayers' money. It's a huge risk. And then they are questioning them and say, how come this company by the name of EDIS is not participating in the expense? Why it's only you collectivity, whereas they own 40% of the shares? That's the mystery. We need answers on that.
And the name remains the same for the airline?
They are going under they're flying, they're operating under Air Antilles still, but the real name is New Air Antilles.
Oh.
Yeah, that's supposed to, but they said in the documents that they're going to trade under the name Air Antilles.
So you all meet in the Territorial Council, Executive Council, make decisions. Is there any opposition against these decisions?
The Territorial Council, we have 23 members, and we have 7 opposition members. In the Executive Council, there's only 1. It's 7 members in the Executive Council, but there's only 1 opposition member. So that person I noticed voted against is Mr. Gibbs. He voted against. But he voted against the others once the majority carries the weight. So they voted the 4 million. But we have to wait to see what the state is going to say, because you can take a decision, but that decision has to go up to the state for what they call contrôle de légalité, for to check the legality of it. I'm waiting to see what they're going to say, because that same report I talk about, which is something that some of us knew, that the collectivity has invested 6 million euros on a checking account from the beginning. That was to cover expenses for a maximum of 6 months. But that 6 million euros by law, since it's a government, local government, they're not supposed to invest any more money, not even €1, until they get back that 6 million, and they have 2 years for that money to come back. In other words, the 4 million, they made it look like it's a loan.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure how that's going to work with the state. So we have to wait and see what they're going to say about that.
Well, in case you've just joined us, this is Oral Gibbs Live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Hot 99.9 FM. My guest you've seen is Mr. Jules Charville. He is the leader of the Hope Party and a member of the Territorial Council of St. Martin. We'll come right back right here with him. Please do this. We're here with leader of the Hope Party and member of the Territorial Council of St. Martin, Mr. Jules Charville. We're here to speak with him. And you know, Mr. Charville, I listened to all what you said a while ago, and it seemed like this is going to be, I hate to say, like a recipe for disaster when it comes to that airline.
I'm worried. I'm worried about the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Oral, you do not gamble taxpayers' money. And from the beginning, I told them it's like taking the money to a casino, and I meant that. And today, 1 year after, we are seeing that that's what it is. And then you're going to put another 4 million, but they're going to come back again because they are operating at a loss. At a loss. Now, last night there was a second aircraft because they're operating with 2 aircrafts, right? The deal that they got for the 400,000 euro is 3 ATR, 2 ATR 72 and 1 ATR 42 in a twin otter. The twin otter is to go between St. Bart's and Guadeloupe, okay? Because the ATR can't land there. So they kept that for that purpose. But remember, they had a whole year not operating. In the meantime, there are 2 airlines that have been created to exactly satisfy the demand for traveling between Guadeloupe and St. Bart's. So now they come back. What they're meeting, first of all, they don't have a point of sale right now in St. Bart's, and these 2 airlines, already have taken over the market, so they're having a hard time to get back into the market. And then on top of that, Oral, is that their twin otter is still in the shop.
Right.
It's not flying. So they have leased, listen good, they have leased a twin otter from a Switzerland company paying a bunch of money every hour they fly. They have to pay. So whether they fly with or without passengers, they have to pay this amount of money. So I'm almost sure they're at a loss there too. So you start out with a huge loss without flying. Then while you operate with another. So that's why today they need of 4 million. That was a month ago. Today it should be more. So the collectivity is going to be requested to put more and more and more, because they're not going to become profitable in a hurry. Even with the second ATR that came in from Morocco last night in Guadeloupe, they said it's going to be in operation by this weekend. That's not going to solve the problem immediately, you see. So they're going to be calling for more money. But why is this company that owns 40% into this new airline is not putting in any money? That's the question. Yeah. We need to have an answer. You know, to which we need to have an answer.
You know, the airline business is a very tricky business.
Oh, even though you can see some big airlines cutting down. I see the other day in the headlines, Northwest Airline taking measures. There's some other airlines that are trying to see how they can like cut out some routes that are not profitable to save money. Right. There's some mergers happening, etc. So yeah. And we can take as an example Curacao.
Oh, they had a bad experience.
And there was no competition.
Exactly.
So because you have a next problem, you could be maybe making money, but some people there, they're getting huge salaries. And that's where the money goes sometimes. So we don't know. We haven't got a statement. We haven't gotten a balance sheet yet. Profit and loss statement, nothing. So we have to wait for January and see, and then ask for those things.
That's January of 2025.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Charville, I was in Guadeloupe a few years ago with the management of Wayne, same airline, Air Antilles,
yeah,
and Liat Airline.
Okay.
And at that,
remember
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
They were speaking about the challenges that Caribbean airlines face.
Okay.
And when you look at all those challenges, in fact, in the cost of the ticket, it's mainly for taxes in all the different areas.
Correct.
And then the operational costs with employees, etc. I would like to see this airline for French and Martin survive, but it doesn't look too good.
No, most of it, you got that kind of overhead. You know, if you take is maybe like maybe 15% of the airline of the aircrafts, but you got 55% of and then for just one aircraft you got 120 people for what? And yet they have to be paid, and you got the social charges. The French, they don't joke with that. Which is a huge problem for both companies, that even companies that are making money, it becomes a problem. Yeah. So it will be really, really difficult. The question that the collectivity had to ask itself, and President Mussington, he's the head of it, is why the collectivity in Guadeloupe, since it was a Guadeloupe company, did not come to the rescue. You know why? Because they analyze the situation and say, no, let's don't touch that. Martinique, they had the money. It was 400,000, of course, with the payments of the 300,000 per month. But they said also, no. They get called from other places telling them not to do it. In private, it was explained to them. I explained in a certain committee. I showed them the figures that were given to us. I said, guys, based on these figures, we're going to fall flat on our faces. Let that alone. They wouldn't listen. I know if it becomes successful, it's because we would have put in a lot of money, the collectivity, and I don't know if they're going to force this company to come up, but we can't continue to put taxpayers' money, not knowing if we're really going to get it back. And that's what they keep saying, we're going to get it back. We're going to get how? What's the guarantee? There's no guarantee. And you don't joke with taxpayers' money. That is something you don't gamble. And right now we're in a situation where we are gambling. It's a gamble.
When you look at how things are going in France and Martin, I had Dr. Petty here, who is a vice president
Yeah.
And he was talking about the property that he is going to donate for. Did that happen? I see.
I have to laugh because they have campaigned on that.
Oh, okay.
So election was in 2022. We are almost now in 2025, and it was said during the campaign, don't worry, telling the people on the stage, the land is already acquired. The gentleman that you just mentioned, he is going to give us the land, and it's already there. And 2.5 years after, there's no land. They're still looking for land. And so the home for senior citizen, we really need a new home. And they said that that's the first thing they're going to do. And today, the same old one is there that needs repairs. I don't know if they're going to do the repairs, but no land has been purchased. I understand they're considering another piece of land because it seems like that can't happen for whatever reason. I always knew that it would be difficult for that to happen because he's a vice president. And if you're part of a government, it's hard for you to sell to your own, give, donate, because they said it's a donation. And even sell, there's some kind of conflict of interest there. Outside the government, but if you're part of the government and you're given that same government land, then there's some other difficulties that the state is considering and saying, no, you can't do that. So I don't know if they're going to get the next piece of land that they're considering, but up to now, there's no land where to build this new structure.
So what would you say, things good in French Martin today? Everything is going smoothly. We have a new president now for 2.5 years, and there's a great feeling with the people, population.
No, there are some things, I wouldn't sit here and say Mr. Mussington hasn't done anything positive for the country. There are certain things that he met, certain projects that he met there in progress, that he's continuing, and he's trying to push them to make sure that they reach to an end. The beautification of Marigot with trees that you can see, the planting of the trees. There was a certain project like that was supposed to happen, didn't happen, but he kind of make it a little broader. And there was a certain area only that was considered. He has put some trees all over the place. That is good. We can see the lights that are up, and so all those things are good. What I'm hoping really that he stops making the mistakes that he has made for the past year or so. It's not only the airline. There's this company based in Guadeloupe that was created for the districts of Guadeloupe called Établissement Public Foncier. You call it EPF. And the mistake that he has made is to become part of them, and is to bring them here and for them to purchase land to hold for the collectivity. But when they do that, they're not just holding it, they become an owner, and they're holding it for a certain amount of time. If the collectivity can't pay by that time, it becomes theirs definitely, and those are mistakes. Those people also came here with the idea as soon as the first meeting they had with us. I heard that word expropriation mentioned, and I said to the lady, she's the president of that entity, I said, hey, what you just said there, expropriation? I say, we don't need that here. St. Martin people don't want to hear about expropriation. But since they kind of went into, say, business with them, now, a few weeks ago, the president brought a deliberation to the council talking about expropriation.
Really?
Yeah, wow. and to give this company the power to expropriate. Well, this has never, ever happened in the history of the commune days and the history of the collectivity days. So from 2007 to now, no former president has ever attempted to come to the council and say, guys, here's a deliberation for us to set the stage. That's what it was for expropriation. That has never happened. Since he got into business with this company from Guadeloupe, that's what now we see. But they came with that concept. and he's following. They did it. They attempt to do it. This company, to the Belle Creole, the hotel, you know the Hotel Belle Creole.
Yes, been there abandoned for a long time.
Down Bluff, being abandoned. The owners found a buyer, a developer, to buy it. There was a certain price. The collectivity gave this company the power to preempt. Right. Now it is a collectivity that should preempt.
Exactly.
But they said, we don't have the money, but we want it for us, but we're going to bring this company that with whom we join forces, that was created for the Guadeloupe districts. We're not part of Guadeloupe anymore. We're on our own, just like over here, we're not part of Curacao anymore. But somehow...
We operate like we're still part of...
You understand? Yeah. So actually, they give them the power to preempt.
Yeah.
They preempted, and for a much lower price, then these people, remember they had a buyer.
Right.
But the collectivity can say, we're preempting, but we're not paying you that price. It's negotiable. Those owners told these people, listen, we can't sell you for that price, therefore we're not selling anymore. These people came back to the collective and said, okay, then let's expropriate them. Wow. So they're the one that came here with the idea of expropriating. That word expropriation, you're going to hear it more and more thanks to these people that came, that they brought in here. So that's another mistake. So those kind of mistakes can cost us dearly. He's about to make another mistake again with the Beaupertuis land. Same thing. Here you are. You remember the protest that happened quite a few months back?
Yeah, yeah.
The president asked the people to come out and protest.
He was there, yeah.
Okay. Well, today we learned that October 14th, those same lots are coming back for auction again. Remember, we protest so that it doesn't happen. Well, it seems like the president made a deal to buy the entire property, including the lots that are for auction and all the rest. I think the price is, they wanted 43 million, and he's offering 38 million.
He did say publicly that he wanted to buy the whole thing, right?
Yes. But what happened is that he's bringing in this company.
The same company from Guadeloupe, EPS. Oh.
He said on radio they're going to finance part, and he's going to borrow money, the collectivity, to finance the other part. The problem is these people don't finance, they own. Even though they're going to hold it for you, so said, but they get a deed. So they're not going to finance. It's either they're buying it, it's theirs, holding it for you for 5 years. He said he got a deal for 10 years with them. I'm surprised to hear that, because the maximum they usually hold land for is 5 years. Maybe they work out something for 10 years, but they get a deed over. If after the 10 years, if that is so, you can't pay, they remain the owners and they do what they want with the property. Remember, the whole idea is to keep this land for St. Martiners.
Right.
What guarantee, once they become the owners, what guarantee we have that St. Martiners will own it someday? We're just hoping that when that time comes, we'll have the money. Or he said they're allowing the collectivity to pay yearly, but they have the deed. This thing about he's borrowing money from a bank, they're going to finance a certain amount, I know they don't do that. It's either they're going to own a certain amount of lots, and the collectivity own a certain amount of lots, and after a while, they become the owner of everything. That has to be explained.
But listen to you, it doesn't seem like any bank down the road is going to want to do business with the collectivity. Because
the financial situation
is very risky.
The report I talk about is confidential. It says on the document, confidential and temporary, because it came out. We don't know how it has leaked out. It was destined to President Mussington and former President Gibbs and the prefect. Only those three persons should have been able to read that document and keep it. And they had 1 month to answer both presidents. And then at the end, I think 2 months after that, you get the final report. But I can tell you, if that final report is going to be, that's why I'm not going to comment now until the final report comes out. But if it's going to be if what's in that temporary report concerning the finances of the collectivity, if the final report is going to remain like that, then the collectivity, I mean, we people of the French side will be in some serious financial trouble because it's not good for us. The report on the finances of the collectivity. I'm going to wait for the final report because it will have in his answer, what he's saying concerning what they're saying about the figures. So we'll wait for that. And eventually I can come back here sometime before October next year.
Definitely. We don't have to make it every year.
Well, I hope that I maybe can ask to be invited.
Well, you can always,
because of that.
Open to that, definitely.
Okay.
When you look at French St. Martin, and I told you the last time, we all come from both sides of the island.
Yeah.
What you described a while ago with the Guadeloupe Company, the same thing happens on this side. We had 10, 14 years, but we still can't get away from Curaçao in some cases. But how you feel about St. Martin? Because you are unique, St. Martin, in that besides being a politician elected to the Territorial Council in French St. Martin, you've had business on both sides. So you
business and families too. Yes, I'm from both sides. Yeah.
So you have a good sense of what's going on, better than most people, I think.
Well, you could say any one of us there that is in the council that doing our work would have a better understanding of what's going on behind the scenes. I can talk about over here because you said it, I work over here for 20-something years as a businessman, and I still do some business here and there. My mother is from over here, so part of me is from over here. It is true that back in the 70s, 80s, up to the 90s, maybe early 2000, I always wonder why we on the French side could not be like over here, meaning that you walk into a bank, whether it's Winwood Island Bank, Scotia Bank in those days, you meeting your people, the manager, Winwood Island Bank, only at the management, the whole management team was us. The police force over here, at the airport, at the port. Okay, the port still, I think we still good there, but gradually, I sense we got 10-10-10. On the French side, we got Article 74, autonomy from 2007. You all came in 3 years after.
Right.
But since 2007, we're supposed to be autonomous. Autonomy. But we're seeing that as time goes by, instead of getting a higher degree of autonomy, we are giving away what autonomy should have given us. And the little that we got, we are giving it away. We're giving it back. Over here, and it would be Holland. Over there is France. We're giving it back to them slowly. Why it's happening? I think the answers are different. On the French side, there's a certain answer. Over here, I think I see the answer. I won't comment on that here, but it's a pity because we really need to get away and to be free. But our hands are being tied tighter and tighter day by day, both sides.
Yeah.
It's a pity.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate because St. Martin is such a unique island compared to all the islands in the Caribbean. That French and Dutch atmosphere and how we live together as a people, and it's slowly drifting away. And I think for us as St. Martiners, we feel it, and no one can feel it the way how we feel it and see it.
Yeah. On the northern side, what we are missing, maybe on the southern side a bit, is our financial autonomy. St. Bart's, as small as they are, Sinbad's today is financially independent. They have an excess on the budget every year for years now.
We got surplus, it's good.
When France, after Omar, offered them help, they said, no, thank you, we good. We good. We, both sides here being one side begging France over here, and then they give conditions.
Yeah.
They give conditions. Sinbad's, they tell France, we almost can borrow you money. And it's true. So we need to reach to that.
But they don't want us to get there though, huh?
Well, we don't have to really continue to depend on them to reach there, because we're not going to reach if we depend on them too. Yeah. Listen, both sides, right? We are in control of our fiscality. There are only 2 ministers so far since 10-10-10 that I heard over here saying they mentioned both things. I said, wow, that's exactly what has to happen. Minister Hassink, back then, way back then, for the first time, the Council of Ministers came over to meet with the council over there, and I was present that day. And I was so pleasantly surprised to hear him say that we need to harmonize our taxes. Or we need to go further more than harmonizing. We need to sit down, and the next minister, not long ago, is Minister De Weaver. She was minister then. I think she was
minister.
Yes. Minister. She started talking about simplifying indirect taxes, etc. But we can't do it separately. We have to sit down, and because if you tax gasoline over here, example, make it go higher, they're going to buy French side. You got examples. Indirect taxes, we have to come together and agree and harmonize it. Yeah. So it doesn't matter which side you go.
You can't run.
Right. So we need to do that and see how together we can both working together but become financially independent, self-sufficient financially. It's a long way to go.
But we can make it.
But we can make it happen, but to me, we're giving each other our backs. And even, you see this new government here? I hope that pretty soon the Prime Minister and our President will meet, and they have to.
I was just going to, like you're reading my mind. I asked him that a few months back, and they haven't met.
They had to meet long time ago. I mean, to me, the next week, he got elected to the next week. That's how important it is. Our relationship locally, the two local government, the two status that we have.
Yeah.
The only difference, we're working towards it. They again call it a mistake, but it's just he has a very slow way of operating. I can say it in many different ways. President Mussington, the mistake that he has made, he talked years and years about modifying our organic law. Now he's sitting there 2.5 years. There's a committee that as soon as he got in there, he created for that purpose, to study, to come up with proposals for the revision of our organic law. The status we have overall can give us a parliament just like over here. There's no reason we still have an executive council. You all being there, you had an executive council how many years ago? We got Article 74. It gives us rights to a parliament. It gives us rights to a council of ministers. French Polynesia has the same Article 74. They have a parliament. They have a big say in immigration. We have no say in immigration. That's why you talk just now about the degree of autonomy. We have the shell for Article 74, but the real autonomy, you have to fight for it, your organic law. They give us something that they wanted to give us. We asked for something, the persons that in 2003, I think, 4 or somewhere there, what they asked for, they never give it. They say, no, we're not giving you this, that, we're giving you this. And they accepted. And we stuck with it. But we don't have to remain stuck with it. Sinbad's got their organic law modified. It's our rights. But we have to fight for it, prepare it in a committee. It could take like 8-9 months, bring it to the council for a vote, and mandate our parliamentarians, the senator and the deputy, to go on a mission and make sure it happens. That's all it needs.
But at the same time, I recall many times former president Daniel Gibbs and your colleague in the Territorial Council calling for a kind of national congress between both sides.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that.
Well, I think at the time when he came up with the idea, after a while, for what I was understanding, France and Holland wanted to get involved. And well, for it to work,
it can't be those two.
We have to keep them out. Yeah. It is between us.
Yeah.
That's a super, you call it what you want. We need an assembly. I'm all for it. An assembly in which you would find whether members from the Executive Council and from the Council of Ministers or the Parliament and the Territorial Council, but an assembly where we take common decisions for the country. Where we are competent, for which we are competent. We are competent for energy, urbanism, roads. I mean, over here, whatever we have in common, in that assembly we take decisions, and France nor Holland can't tell us anything about our decisions. But if we involve them, might as well we stay as we are.
That's true.
Yeah.
In case you just joined us, I'm Earl Gibbs here on Earl's Live. I'm speaking with Hope Party President Francis Martin. He's also a member of the Territorial Council, Mr. Jules Charville. Always a pleasure having him. So,
always a pleasure to be here.
How you saw this last election of August 19? Were you surprised?
Yeah, there were some surprises. I'm going to say it because many, even some political leaders did not expect for Dr. Marcelina to get
that many votes.
I mean, everybody thought he would get less. I was one telling people, I don't feel he's going to get the same amount. He's going to get less, so he got much more. I did not expect that there would be so many leaders of parties to be beaten by some members of the same party. Right. It was several cases like that.
Three parties had that problem.
Yeah. So those were the surprises. I was kind of surprised about that. Yeah. But that's what politics is all about. Surprises, elections, nothing is played in advance.
But that never happened before this?
No. Well, we saw it happen to a party in the past, the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Back when it was Emily, he got more votes than Sarah. Remember back then?
Right.
So that happened like that, and everybody was like, what? But now it seems like, it's happening more and more now. It's spreading.
Then what we're seeing is how the National Alliance is falling apart, the way the DP fell apart. So that was quite an interesting thing to see happen.
Yeah. But that's part of the political game. That's how it works.
Yeah. So what's next on the horizon? What you see as very, very important right now that you say, man, I want to see this finish in 6 months?
I want to see our roads fixed. Both sides,
Oh, they're in bad shape?
I drove yesterday, and then I just happened to take a shortcut, the railroad. I couldn't believe
it's terrible.
Where I was driving. I mean, I almost had to stop to drive. You stop, not slow down, and then drive a little bit to fall in this huge pothole. And it's deep.
Yeah.
And we have some of those things on the front. The entrance of, I said in the council the other day, Mr. President, it's the road where your family house is, that road going into St. James on the lower side, close to the pond, to the water. When you drive there, you enter in St. James, that's the entrance of Marigot. The potholes that are there, it's horrible. So we need at least to patch up those holes. If there's not enough money to resurface the whole thing, let's fix the roads. Make them drivable. And that's a priority. The next thing, on the French side, that needs to happen, but if we take in all the money and put in into an airline hoping to save it, now we aim for 17.2 million. You know what we can do with 17 million? Well, our stadiums still need to be rebuilt. the Sanagong Stadium, the main stadium on the French side, 7 years after Orma, is still
terrible.
Just for an example, since 2021, every year, so 2021, 22, 23, and 24, money being put on the budget for that stadium, just for the fence, not to repair the stadium. Well, up to now, the fence can be put up. They had in 2022, 23, 180,000 for the fence. This year, they put 750,000 for the fence. We reach into the end of the year, you're going to see work hasn't started on the fence. Budget was voted in April. Since 2021, if the fence cannot be built, how you expect the stadium itself to be repaired and for us to get a new stadium? Right. So we have a problem. We have a problem with cultural centers. The one in Grand Cause still not rebuilt, totally disappeared. Sanagong, same thing. Those things there are priorities. The sports complex, Omnisport, whatever, that still down, not rebuilt, because there's a problem that nobody doesn't want to say it. They find all kind of excuses. It's all because of money. So if you prefer to take 17 million and have it invested in an airline and not knowing if you're going to get back that money instead of fixing those things, I'll tell you what, that first 13.2 million, that wasn't on the budget in 2023. Everything was earmarked. You know how that came about? All the work in the stadium, French Quarter, it was September 2023. 3 more months to go to the end of the year. Well, we didn't quite finish that work yet. We can do that next year. So whatever money is remaining there, let's take that. So we took 2 million from here, 1 million from there, from Omnisport, and major projects that the country needs. Yeah. You take the money from that and hoping the next year, not that you're going to grow that money, but that the state of France is going to give you that money. And they really were hoping so. When they went to ask them, they told them, no, we're not in the airline business. They were hoping that they would just reimburse them. They refused. Wow. Then they told them, we're going to assist you to get a loan. We're going to see. By assisting you to get a loan, you can get that money. They tried that, they failed. So we ended up with a huge hole into the budget of 2024. And certain project just can't happen.
Well, it's we're out of time, but again, I want to thank you for coming in. And the
You're
last
welcome.
minute, so you have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds in closing. Anything else?
Nothing special. I just thanking you for giving me the opportunity to speak to the people in general, both sides and those that are not here that seen us on the internet. I hope to be back here before October to explain to people to read certain sections of that report that is so important for the people to understand what is happening on the French side.
Definitely, we'll have a follow-up on that. Just let me know when you're ready, all right?
Thank you.
That's the leader of Hope Party, Mr. Jules Charville. He's leader of the Hope Party and member of the Territorial Council. So I think that's Oral Clips Live, and I'll see you next time right here on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook, and on YouTube. Take care. Bye.